Okay, folks, we're here with Lin Kaufmann, home of the Joey Lift. Lin, tell me a little bit about what you got here. So this is the 60 series, so kind of explain a little bit to somebody who might be interested in buying a Joey Lift, just what we got.
All right, this right here is a mini scissor lift is basically what it is. So it's very small, compact. It's got a scissor under there, a little hydraulic system that just lifts it up and down. It kind of replaces a 6-foot ladder type of thing. So in my words, it's a drivable 6-foot ladder.
Awesome. So if you're a shed shop owner, if you're a manufacturer, what's the benefit to buying something like a Joey Lift for your guys out there roofing and your guys out there painting?
Well, just like in a ladder, you're running up and down that ladder all day. Well, you get in something like this, you can go all the way around the shed, painting the trim or anything like that without ever touching the ground. So you save a lot of fatigue and wear and tear on the body running up and down these ladders versus using something like this where you can just drive it around and don't have to carry your ladder or push it or walk a ladder, which we all know is very dangerous. And we all do it.
So take me through the components here just a little bit. I'm going to come in here just a little bit, and first of all, you got the bat wing doors as soon as you open.
Yeah, that's a safety feature, so that's a good thing. So you can't fall out the back. And here we got like a safety switch. So you turn it, start the system. Got the switch for the joystick. Here's a safety feature, so it's got a 2-point up, down. Push this in, you go up, push this, you go down, and then a joystick to drive it. So it makes work a lot more fun.
So this whole machine, this is a 60 series, so this is, what's the size on this? What's the size or weight or capacity? What can this hold?
So it's rated at 300 pounds, so it's roughly one guy and just his few little tools. But it will go up 62 inches, which is a platform height. So you got a working height of roughly 11 and a half feet.
So one of the key components to this, I think, is not just that it'll lift, but it'll actually turn in a very small radius.
Oh, that's exactly right. So if you take this joystick, think about maybe like a wheelchair. It gets in very tight spaces. So this thing here is the very same principle. It's a 0-0 turn, I call it. So the center pivot is in the center of the machine. So you get in very tight spaces, especially getting in these shed shops that got these small aisles and you got these stacked in there end to end really tight. So basically if a ladder can get through there, this thing can get there.
So do a little spin here just to show kind of the tight space, just how quick you can get around. Very good. Now this will actually do this suspended as well, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see it. Go ahead and take it up in the air.
Yeah, now you're trying to...
Now we're showing off.
Now you're showing off, right. So. Cut figure 8 pretty easy.
Man, that's pretty cool.
And you can do this while you're driving.
Okay, so
that's always handy.
So you can actually drive and
you can do
raise it up and down at the same time. Okay. Making the life easier for shed manufacturers everywhere. Let's see if we can get one of these up in the air. Maybe you can show me a little bit about the components on the inside of them.
So what we got here is we got a hydraulic pump here that operates the cylinder to make the whole thing go up and down. And this whole pivot system, I get all this height in roughly 11-inch stroke of cylinder. So that's a very key component to keeping everything low. So it's one step in, which is also very helpful. It ain't like you're stepping up twice to get into this machine. You can just basically one step. It's got an onboard charging system, which you got your onboard charger right down here. So you just plug in an extension cord in the back, charge the system at the end of the day. Or every 2 days.
What kind of like life do you get out of a charge?
That's a good question in the sense that it all depends how much you use it, of course. But my guys now using it are charging it maybe once or twice a week. So it just all depends on how much usage you do. Because the nice thing about electric is it's not like a gas that's constantly running even when you're not moving. So if it's electric, it's not moving, you're not using. So those batteries last a good little while on that. So we got 2 battery systems, so it's got a 24-volt system. And So those last a good little while. So here are the drive motors, and that you can obviously see where we get our turning radius. It operates in the middle, and then the casters are 360 casters on the ends, on all four corners here. And the brains of it is in this front end up here. That's the whole computer system that operates the whole thing. And then where we get our traction, that's very unique to this machine, is these cylinders right here. These are little gas cylinders, or gas shocks, whichever way you want to call them. And those put pressure on this. That gives the traction to the concrete or whatever you're running on. And the neat thing about this is we got them set that where they can only go so far. So in short, you can go on anything flat, but if you go over too big a dip, it will bottom out. But on any flat surface that's within an inch, it'll go over.
Now, I've been around a lot of shed shops, and a lot of times you'll see 2x4s or plywood or extension cords hanging around. Can the Joey lift go over those?
So thinking of a 2x4, it is designed in that sense with these casters. They're hard enough. So on a 2x4, no. We don't want them going over 2x4s due to the fact you'll get tipsy and you don't want to turn these things over with someone in them in particular.
Sure.
So no, a 2x4 will get there and it'll just push it in front of it. OSB, cords, air hoses, all those, it will safely go over top of those. And that's where that hydraulic system in that those cylinders keep the traction if you're going over rough terrain.
Now, if you buy one of these, you've been using it for quite an extended period of time, you need to do some repairs on it. If this thing's actually completely collapsed, how am I going to get to this thing?
You know, that's a good point on this. We've got this built in, so I'm going to put it back down. So as we can see, you cannot pick this thing off. So if you were to need to work on it, there's no way to get to it now. There's a little bolt right here. You take one out here and one out on the other side. There's a little metal tab in there that you take out that you can pick this end up and it'll flip all the way up and expose everything underneath of it. So you can get to your batteries, you get to your pump, and you can get to all that kind of good stuff.
Very good. So this is a 60 series.
Correct.
Then we've got a 70 over here, is that right? And basically you're looking at the same machine, just goes a little bit higher and it's a little bit wider, is that right?
That is right. So in short, this one here is about 2 inches wider. I think it's 4 inches longer, and goes up to about 75 inches versus the 60 was 62 inches.
Okay.
So there is a myth out here on the 6-foot ladder. A 6-foot ladder is not 6 foot. So a 6-foot ladder is measured up the leg of the ladder. So when I built these originals, it was designed to replace a 6-foot ladder. So this at 62 inches, we are between the very top and the next rung. So on a 6-foot ladder, you're not supposed to stand on top, which we know people do, and they're not supposed to, or more liable to fall off. So even on a 6-foot ladder, these are a whole lot safer and can get into places much more safer than a 6-foot ladder. These go above and beyond the 6-foot ladder.
Well, you've even got all this protection around you, but even whenever you're up in the air, I mean, if you start to rock a little bit on a ladder, you're pretty much going to fall. You've got a little bit of security here, and they've got quite a bit of sway before these will actually tip. Is that right? That
is correct. And these will actually go over way too uncomfortably far before they ever fall over.
Very good. So then on top of that, you started hearing in the shed industry, hey, this would be really good for roofers, but we need a way to carry our metal around. So is that why you come up with the 70s, the 70 SR series?
Yeah, the 70 SR series is shed industry specific due to the fact of the need to safely roof these sheds. And this is probably one of the more unsafe parts of the shed building in the industry is roofing sheds. You see a lot of unique ways of people roofing these sheds. All the way to, I've heard of a guy that's got a platform built on the back of his truck, that he drives his truck along these sheds to roof them.
So this is going to be a lot cheaper than a truck, right? So how's this?
You would think.
How's this work here?
So this is totally unique. So we made a little smaller basket, a little wider machine, but it's roughly the same height as the 75 or the 70 series. and the 70SR, the Arming, it's a roofing model. So we flip these things up here. You got access to put your metal on the side of here, and in demonstrating that, you come in and set your metal right here. You set this down and you can safely move around the shop, and your metal won't fall out. And then you move over to your shed. You can pull these out and swing them up, or what I call fly them up on the roof.
So you could do this even on a utility shed with a run of 75-inch metal or whatever. It's just going to run up the ladder here, basically.
That is correct. So in showing you that, take this back off. This right here, this thing right here moves up and down. So the short metal we were using for a lofted barn, you would need to move this thing up so you can get to your metal when you're all the way up at the edge of the roof. So if you're doing like a 10 wide utility, you would have it maybe a little bit lower than if you're doing a 14, you would put it all the way down. And your roof edge, your metal is roughly at your roof edge.
So you could start roofing a barn after getting all your metal loaded on here, travel along both sides of it, and have it roofed before even coming back down to the ground.
That's exactly right.
Well,
You never hit the ground because you carry your screws and your drills all on here, and you go all the way around the building, never touch the ground.
So saving a lot of fatigue on a shed builder, for sure.
Which makes a lot of happier employees.
All right. Okay, Lin, so kind of tell me, what was the thought behind this whenever you started the Joey Lift?
So the thought behind it when it first originally started was that concept of saving, what can I do to help my employees work better and more efficiently? So as I was studying that, I had this brainstorm one day about making a small lift with a center pivot to drive around these buildings, because there's nothing out there in the industry that's small enough and compact enough and drivable enough to get between some of our sheds. So I had this brainstorm one day and come up with this idea, putting the drive systems in the middle, and my brother engineered the first one, or fabricated the first one, and it worked. We used it for about 2 years. And then it kind of went from there. Had a lot of people look at it over the years and say, look, man, you need to take this to the market. And I'm like, it ain't that big a deal. It works for me. Why doesn't anybody else need it? If they need it, they can figure it out themselves. But I got enough people behind me, and finally I was like one day, okay, I'm going to do what I can to take it to the market. Well, so we did. We started this, and we were doing some of our own work, our own branding and stuff, and we come up with these blue ones up here, and went with that for a little bit, but didn't like it, didn't care for it, so we hired a company, James Arthur Design Company, to take over, look over it, come up with some names, some branding, and some colors, and this is what we got today, thanks to them.
He did a really good job on the Joey Lift. And why the name Joey?
Joey's a unique name. When I first seen it, they gave me the idea. I was like, man, I didn't really care for it a whole lot. But the more I studied it, I was like, you know what? This is a baby lift. It's a safe lift. And I'm thinking a Joey is a small baby kangaroo in his mother's pouch. It's the safest place to be. So it just kind of fits. And the color scheme behind it is that Australian color that's nothing like it out there.
The branding, the lift, the colors, all of it worked out really good. I know it whenever I see it. I got a chance to see it at some of the trade shows last year. Some in the shed industry may have seen it over the last couple of years. These things are starting to move off the shelf. Shed manufacturers are seeing the benefits in buying a Joey Lift.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing a number of our sales go up again this fall since we've been to the Shed Show. It's our second year, and it's been going great.
Man, that's great. So if you guys are wanting a Joey Lift, be sure to give the Shed Geek a call, and we're going to take care of you.
Fantastic.